Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video we're going to go on with our study of the book of Daniel. We're going to pick up where we left off at chapter 4. So if you will, let's go ahead and jump into this. Join me there at verse 1, and we read, Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I thought it good to shew the signs and wonders that the high God hath wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in mine house, and flourishing in my palace. So, at the peak of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar testified to the powerful work of God. Right there where it says, all people, nations, languages that dwell in all the earth, it's most probable that Nebuchadnezzar is referring to his kingdom, Babylon, and not the entire world. All right, let's go on there at verse 5. And I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Therefore I made a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers, and I told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But at the last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee, tell me the vision of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. Thus were the visions of mine head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed on it. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree, and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit. Let the beast get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. So here, Nebuchadnezzar had another troubling dream, or vision, you might say, that he does not understand, and it frightens him. It brought great fear to him. And so once again, what does he do? He calls in all the wise men of the kingdom, and once again, they fail to give him the interpretation of the dream or vision that he's seen. So once again, Nebuchadnezzar, he sends for Daniel, and Daniel comes in. But notice that the king, Nebuchadnezzar, does not honor God in his arrogance and his pride. He refers to the gods, plural, meaning the many gods are idols of Babylon and not the one true God. So this is a very arrogant man. And we're going to see as we go on in this, arrogance is not a good thing for any of us. All right, let's go on. Verse 15. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast in the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the beast of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. For as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, My lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that are grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown and reacheth to the end of the earth. So, the huge tree in Nebuchadnezzar's dream was a symbol of prosperity and life. In all of the earth, there was not a greater kingdom than Babylon. Babylon was immense, had huge walls and gates, and was a flourishing empire. And it was great among all the nations. It was the greatest kingdom on the earth. Now, where it says a watcher, a holy one, enters the dream and gives the order to chop the tree down while it's in its prime. Now here, the vocabulary switches from it to him, clearly making this about a person. Now Daniel, he tells Nebuchadnezzar that he, Nebuchadnezzar, is the tree in the dream. All right, let's go on to verse 23. And whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, Hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven. And 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whomsoever he will. And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, the kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thy iniquities by shewing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. So, the very fact that God gave this vision or dream to Nebuchadnezzar as a warning shows God's great mercy before judgment falls on a person or a nation. Better take heed, better pay attention to God when he gives a warning. Even now, being told that the interpretation and its warning, Nebuchadnezzar refuses to give God the credit for the greatness that Babylon achieved. His arrogant pride refuses to acknowledge the fact that God rules over all the earth, over all his creation, and gives the right to rule or govern to whomsoever he wishes. And here, he's telling Nebuchadnezzar that his judgment, his punishment, will last for 7 years. Let's go on to verse 28. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whosoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and my understanding returned unto me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand, or say unto him, What doest thou? At the same time my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom my honor and brightness returned unto me. And my counselors and my lords sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom. An excellent majesty was added unto me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol the honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment, and those that walk in pride he's able to base. So, Nebuchadnezzar had been reminded that the source of his great success was by God and not himself. God spoke this to him and told him clearly who was in charge. But his pride was great, to the point that it betrayed him. Notice, Nebuchadnezzar says, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? Right there in verse 30. So he's taking credit for the things that God has done. You see, God builds nations. He builds kingdoms through his power and his might, not by ours. But Nebuchadnezzar, like a lot of us, he had this great pride. And no matter how great your pride may be, your pride will always lead to destruction. Always. Nebuchadnezzar was given 1 year, 12 months, to repent of his sins and to turn to God and acknowledge God as the Most High. But he didn't do it. And so for 7 years, God's punishment came upon him. He became a beast of the field, wandering around, eating the grass like the other beasts of the field. But notice something here. When he came to a point where he recognized his fallacy, he was at his lowest, he was broken. All he had to do was look up, and he was restored. Upon being restored, he's reminded that it's God, not Nebuchadnezzar, not men, that achieve great things. It's God that does. God will punish the proud. He will punish the arrogant. But his great mercy always comes before judgment. And here we clearly see this as Nebuchadnezzar was given 1 whole year to repent, and this arrogant man refused to repent. I pray that we will be a people that understand that it's the mighty God of heaven, the one and only true God, that's in control of everything. And it's by Him that nations receive the right to govern. I pray that this has helped you in some way. I pray that it'll draw you closer to God. And I pray that it might help you if you suffer from arrogance and pride. I pray that these studies are not just a waste of time, but that they are a help and an encouragement. This channel is about encouraging you, not tearing you down, not destroying you, not beating you up. It's about encouragement. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I pray that you'll join me in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Blessings to you.